Okay, so my intention for this video was to review the Artech Prima XP pump action made in Turkey by Artech, who I'd never heard of before. There are so many Turkish gun companies appearing just out of nowhere here in Australia, mainly with repeater shotguns, and now this company Artech are marketing, or I think Niowa or whoever is marketing, Artech pump action and straight pull centerfire rifles. So the centerfire, the straight pull and the pump action have got the same top receiver and barrel combination, apparently, and that is employed on those two systems. I think also that they have a semi-auto, and that's probably the same story, that same top receiver and barrel combination. Now, why am I showing you the box and not the rifle? Well, this is what happened. After waiting a few months for the permit to acquire, and the reason why I waited that long is because initially I had an inquiry from Weapons Licensing asking me, why do you need this firearm? So I explained to them that, or why do you need this firearm when you've got so many other firearms of a similar type? Because you have to justify a purchase. You can't just purchase a firearm. You have to have some sort of justification. And if you've got several other firearms that are similar or the same, they're going to want to know why you're buying so many firearms that are, almost the same as far as they're concerned. Because I do have 3 other 308s. So this Artech is in 308. I do have 3 other 308s, but 2 of them are essentially collector's items. They're not hunting firearms. Then one's the Spanish Mauser carbine in 308. That's essentially a historical piece. It's a historical piece, collector's item. And the other one is the Israeli Mauser, which is also essentially a collector's item. It's a historical piece. The other 308 that I have is the Ruger Scout, which is a hunting firearm, strictly. So they wanted to know why I wanted another 308, I suppose, and I explained that to them in via email, returned their email, replied to their email. And I didn't think I was going to get the PTA because it's like a couple of months later. And then finally, out of the blue, yep, it's approved. So, and the PTA came through at the gun shop, a few days later. And when I eventually came back from work, I went to pick it up. And lo and behold, the guy's taken it out of the box and he's gone, oh, hang on a minute. To complete the paperwork, he's gone, oh, this is a 30-06. So I'd ordered the 308. They'd put the PTA was for a 308, so it's got to be a 308. It can't be any other caliber. It can be, because they don't specify the serial number on the PTA application. So any 308 pump action, they could have sold me any 308 pump action. They didn't have any other 308 pump actions. Remington 7600s are, like hen's teeth. The only other pump action centerfire that I've had is the Remington 7615, which I never had a problem with. Yeah, the trigger was junk, and I did have to muck around with it to fix it. I did get a hell of a lot better. You can get a from Timney I think it's called the 7600 7615 trigger pack. Not a pack, a trigger kit, which comes with a replacement sear and a spring, and that did wonders for the trigger on that firearm, because the stock trigger that comes with it is just rubbish. They're essentially shotgun triggers, same as this. This thing's got a shotgun trigger. It's a horrible trigger. But anyway, so what happened was So he's like, oh God, you know, we've got the wrong calibre, we've got to see if we can find you one. I'll phone around. And they had no solution at that time, so I just went home. And then I got a phone call, and he said, oh, I've got one coming express from Rockhampton, and it'll be here in a day or two. And so a couple of days later, I was actually able to go there and pick it up. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't go to the range because there was a national field rifle shoot on for the whole weekend. So yesterday, which was Monday, was the first time that I managed to actually go and shoot it. So I went to the range. I was using the pretty, who is it? OSA. So it's made by ADI, Australian Defence Industries, marketed by OSA. I think it's the Buffalo River, or it could be the Aussie Outback. I can't remember which one it is, but it's pretty much, it's excellent ammo, really good ammo. Nothing hot or anything like that. It's just pretty much run-of-the-mill 308 ammo, but of a very high quality, I've found. And so I loaded, it's a 4-round magazine, so and the magazines are really good too, I have to say that. I like the firearm. The firearm itself is really good. It's much smoother than a Remington. Remington's really clunky. The forend on the Remington would be just jostling around. Really hard to try and shoot accurately off a bench with or off a rest. This thing was much easier to like the forend is really smooth and quite solid. You know, none of the Remington problems. The Remington system is essentially a converted shotgun to centerfire. Yeah, so it's sort of half-assed, but my 7615 operated excellent. But this thing, so I load 4 rounds in the magazine. I put the magazine in the rifle. I put it down on the rest. I'll tell you what, the military are going crazy up here. A helicopter. And first shot, bang, and I go to cycle it, and no. So I had to pogo the thing on the bench to get it to extract. So the first round that I shot was stuck in the chamber. Not really bad. I didn't have to smash the thing out with a rod or anything, but I had to pogo it on the bench to get it out, like have a hold of the handguard, the cycling foregrip, and to extract it out. So I extracted it. Now, so I shot 35 rounds, and what happened was that about every 7th round the case got stuck, and I would have to pogo it again on the bench. Now, so I was dealing with that. Yeah, all right. So I thought I'll take it back to the shop and tell them to, I don't know whether the chamber needs polishing, or there's a fault in the chamber, or their problem, you know. First time firing, just got the firearm only a couple of days before, so it's definitely not my problem. But on the last time, second last time probably, that I had to pogo it to extract the case out, something fell on the ground, and I was like, what the hell is that? And I sort of didn't really recognise what it was and didn't pay much attention. And then I'm like, hang on, what was that? And I looked down and I picked it up, and it's the head of a screw that looked very much like the screws that go into mounting the pick rail that comes with the firearm. And it was. The first screw on the pick rail had sheared off. So I'm looking at it going, why the hell did that happen? Because over the years I've mounted a hell of a lot of scope mounts and pick rails and you name it. Never had a problem with the screw. Never had one cross thread. Never had one shear off. Well, the problem is, so I'm looking, and I can see daylight either side, underneath, in between the top of the receiver and the sides of the pick rail. So what it is that the pick rail is a bigger diameter than the top of the receiver, because in their wisdom, Artech have gone with a round top receiver and just drilled holes. Now, in my opinion, they should have gone with a flat top receiver and dovetail, a la, you know, a lot of shotguns, and like the Turkish shotguns, other Turkish shotguns that I've got, or one of them. But they didn't. They just went the round top receiver, which is fine, as long as the diameter of the radius, as long as the radius of the bottom of the pick rail and the top of the receiver are the same or very, very close. Well, no, they're not. So the radius of the pick rail is too big. So what's happened is the thing's, you know, and 308's got a fair bit of kick, fair bit of recoil, so while I've been shooting, the thing's been moving around, which would account for some of the sort of half-assed accuracy that I was getting, or inconsistent. I was sort of getting inconsistent accuracy, and I just sort of wondering, wow, what's going on here? And then, of course, that happened, and I figured it out. Yeah, the scope's just been rocking around, right? So after that happened, I went to the gun store and I said, hey, I've got some problems. Number one, intermittent case is getting stuck in the chamber, about 1 in 7, 1 in 8, something like that, and the screw off in the pick rail, the first screw is sheared off, and they're like, oh, okay, what ammo are we using? I was just using ADI ammo, stock as a rock, no hot loads, no custom loads, nothing. That ammo is really good quality, you can't fault the ammo. So their answer was, alright, put it down to get fixed. If we can't fix the issues, we'll have to send it back to, I think it's OSA or NIOA or whoever. Sorry, I can't remember who the company is that markets it, but in any case, so I think it's NIOA. So I don't have the firearm. First day of shooting, first shoot, 35 rounds. Yeah, can't shoot any more through it because I might get another screw shear off. You know, that's probably the likelihood, because if one screw shears off when there's 4 in there, after that first one's sheared off, another one's going to bust too. So I didn't keep shooting. I stopped as soon as I realised what had happened. I stopped. So if you're thinking of buying one of these Artech Prima XP, either the straight pull or the pump action, I've got the pump action. They're exactly the same receiver, the top of the receiver and the barrel. Yeah, what can I say? Maybe the chamber just needs polishing, and that'll fix the problem. I mean, I couldn't have fixed that, but I could have fixed the issue with pick rail, because all you do is just wrap a piece of sandpaper over the top of the receiver and just get that pick rail and just sand it down until they're the same diameter. That's no biggie, but that screw is still stuck in the top of the receiver, or what's left of that screw, and you know, I'll take it back to the shop, and because I was already there, very close to where the range is, so I took it back, and they're going to see what they can do, which is really disappointing, because the firearm, the cycling is much smoother than the Remington. It's yeah, that the trigger is just as crap. Like, it's really crap. It's a shotgun trigger, so it's crunchy, and the take up is just. It's one of those things where you just keep pulling and pulling and pulling, and then you have to take a second breath. You know, like, really, it's a piece of shit trigger. But you know, having had to fix triggers before, I've gotten a little bit of experience with that, so I can work on that when I get it back. If I get it back, you know, I don't know. So I just wanted to let you know what's going on with the Artech Prima XP. Yeah, that's the full story. So hopefully I'll get it back soon. They'll have fixed the problems and I'll be able to do a proper review. But until then, see you later.